Welcome everyone. After a busy weekend with many of you, we have been meeting over the weekend, and at least on Saturday afternoon. And today we're going to continue on the practice session because we have some long sadhana to review the next section. That's why we won't spend as much time on the first bits that were already introduced, but we spend also a few minutes on sending mantras per Lama Glenn's request, and of course I think many of us feel the need to do it, and as we are doing it together we magnify the power of the mantras.
Yeah, so plan for today, we don't have a new sadhana yet, so we just will utilize the section on the preliminary torma from the long sadhana, and later on we'll insert that part into our handcrafted sadhana. Yeah, that's the plan, but also just for the sake of time, we won't go through all of the previous steps. We'll visualize that we've done them. And with that in mind, we can take refuge. We take refuge in the three roots and the three jewels until our full enlightenment is achieved. Through the power of the practice of the 6 paramitas, may we attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. We take refuge in the three roots and the three jewels until our full enlightenment is achieved. Through the power of the practice of the 6 paramitas, may we attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. We take refuge in the three roots and the three jewels until our full enlightenment is achieved. Through the power of the practice of the 6 paramitas, may we attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes, be free from suffering and its causes, never be separated from great happiness that is free from suffering, and rest in great equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. Om Subhava Shuddha Sarva Dharma Subhava Shuddho Ham. Then we'll do an abbreviated lineage prayer. And for that we meditate that all the lineage masters are above our head. And we'll ask them, please send forth waves of inspiring strength and energy so that we may attain enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. And all the lineage masters dissolve one into another. And then through our crown aperture into our own heart. Through that we go into clear light. Out of clear light we arise as the blue bar. And from the blue bar we manifest as Guhyasamaja. Vajra anger and Vajra touch in union. And then before we'll actually dive into the sadhana, let's do some mantras for the Middle East. And so for that we can do the main mantra of Guhyasamaja, which is of course the mantra of Akshobhya Buddha. There'll be also, if we would do a Leirung, which we might do sometime soon, that'll be also the mantra we would recite the most. And the mantra for Akshobhya is Om A Vajra Drik Hung Hung. And then later when we do the practice, we have Akshobhya Buddha in our heart, and from a blue Hung upon a sun disk, which is encircled by the mantra garland, then we recite the mantra Om A Vajra Drik Hung Hung. So we do that maybe for a mala. And Cliff, mantras for peace, mantras for war, what is our highest intention? Asking for beings.
Yes, exactly. I wanted to add that all highest Yoga Tantra deities, they carry 4 Buddha activities. So by sending the light rays from our seed syllable, from our main Buddha in our heart center, as we recite the mantra, we are sending all the waves of inspiring strength to all beings to perform whatever activities are needed. If it is to protect, they protect. If they are to be wrathful, to apply a certain force for the benefit of beings, they do that. If it is to apply the peace and pacification, they do. They increase whatever needs to be increased. They magnify whatever is to magnify, or attract what it is to be attracted. So we perform whatever is needed in here. And often when we try to do some good, there's also in our private lives, we have a certain idea what it is that it will bring benefit to either our friends or our family or the world, and sometimes we don't know what is it. That's why positioning ourselves into this neutral, in a way, a role of I don't know what's best, but I'm sending what it will bring the best benefit, is the best stance. And that's what also Guhyasamaja and every highest yoga tantra deity gives us opportunity for.
And of course, the mantra of Akshobhya, Om Avashra Drik Hung Hung, is very suitable, because with Akshobhya Buddha, in the Guhyasamaja Tantra, the main focus is on the aggregate of consciousness being transformed into the Dharma Dhatu wisdom, so the wisdom of the nature of reality, clear light. But also it is of course associated with the mental poison, the klesha of anger. So anger is being transformed into the clear light wisdom as well. And that's of course very suitable for any form of conflict or war or aggression, so that anger and aggression has a chance to be transformed into wisdom. Misha, you can barely hear Jonas even though the speaker is on. Hi. Maybe there's something wrong with the microphone. Martin also dropped us a message. But Gosha's sound is normal. If you can, please confirm if you can hear Gosha well.
Hello, hello.
Yeah.
Sangha, Gosha
Mark
to Sangha.
No, Michelle, yes. Yeah, sound is clear, but quieter than usual for both. It's hard to say. How about now?
Yeah, Martin
is it a
already
little
told
bit
us
better
before.
now?
Better?
Better? And Eri, same as Misha, there's been a 20.
Maybe again.
No, same as before.
Needs to be charged.
No, it is charged. Eri says it's slightly better now. Actually, there might be another option. Okay, please bear with us. How about now? Is it better now?
Yeah, everyone is.
Perfect. And now?
And now?
How is it now?
Perfect, great.
There's one more. Oops. Yeah, what happened? Okay, good to know. Well, what happened is someone mentioned the audio on the recording seemed to be lower in terms of quality. And so there is this option, original sound for musicians, which records the audio in much higher quality. Because what you hear live is not the same quality than what is being recorded by Zoom. So I changed to quality for musicians, but supposedly that was the problem that made the volume drop.
Oh.
Because now it's just back to the standard audio. But anyway, getting off topic, thank you so much for bringing it to our attention. So yeah, great. Thank you, guys.
Cool.
Now, where did we left off? Akshobhya Buddha.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anger into the wisdom of Dharma Dhatu. And of course, if you're familiar with the meditation, you can have Akshobhya Buddha in your heart. In the heart of Akshobhya, in your heart, on a sun disk is a blue hung, and around it, standing clockwise, Om Avashra Drik Hung Hung. And from there, the light rays go out, touch all sentient beings, and bringing them whatever they need. So peace, removal of especially anger and aggression, bringing that into the wisdom of Dharma Dhatu, great clarity and wisdom, and of course protection, according to whatever the karma of individual beings is capable of being affected in a positive way. Om Avashra Drik Hung Hung. Om Avashra Drik Hung. Om Avashra Drik Hung Hung. Om Vashvadrikam. And the Akshobhya in our heart is just like the main deity of Vajra anger that we are. So within ourselves as Guhyasamaja, we have Akshobhya in the heart from which the light rays go out. Om Vajradrikam. And of course, we can also think of the Middle East and send, so basically we can see planet Earth from atop, from space, from outer space, and we as Guhyasamaja, we send from our heart the blue light rays touching the whole area of the Middle East and pacifying the conflict, uplifting sentient beings. Om Vashvadrik Om. And then we can also do some of the Vignantaka mantras. And Vignantaka, of course, is the action deity in the Guhyasamaja Tantra. And Vignantaka is one of the 10 wrathful ones. But yeah, anyway, Vignantaka is one of the 10 wrathful ones. He will be also part of the body mandala when we do the mantra recitation in the sadhana. In the body mandala, though, then he will be actually in our penis, in the front part of the penis, and from there he'll emanate in and out, performing his protective actions. But now, for the sake of doing the mantras to remove interferences, we can simply meditate that from our heart, Vignantakas emanate out, work for the benefit of sentient beings, and return into our heart. And we'll also pop him up here. On that note, though, as promised a few weeks ago, all the deity images in high resolution have been added to the page with the recordings. So they're not directly on the page, but there is a link to a Google Drive folder from where you can download all images of the Guhyasamaja mandala in high resolution. And here we have Vignantaka, aka Amrita Kundali, the way Vignantaka / Amrita Kundali is depicted in Guhyasamaja, which is, as mentioned before, a little bit different than in many other tantras. In other tantras, he's often green, but that shouldn't bother us. Guhyasamaja has a few unique caveats. So in Guhyasamaja, Vignantaka, or Amrita Kundali, is that, blue in color. And so we can meditate it as we recite the Vignantaka mantra. Light rays go out from our heart, touch all beings everywhere, giving them protection. And also, maybe on that note, of course, in highest yoga tantra, we have the 4 Buddha activities, and the 4th one is wrath. And as many of you will know, there are, of course, a lot of very wrathful rituals that, yeah, basically there are methods to kill people. The problem with that is this is a practice that should be reserved for fully enlightened beings, because we might think as practitioners that we know who is a bad person in the world and who not. And obviously someone who starts war or kills others must be a bad person. But unless we are fully omniscient like a Buddha, we actually don't know what role they play in the bigger scheme of the connective karma of beings. So therefore, unless we are really omniscient, and omniscient means, for example, if any random person on the street you see, you should know their phone number based on your clairvoyance. That'll be a good sign that you are omniscient, really omniscient. So unless we have those abilities, we should not aim to remove people from the world, because we don't know what role they play in terms of karma of sentient beings. That's why, as practitioners, we should not aim to perform wrath or wrathfully remove people or wish them harm, but rather it's better to focus on security, on protection, that may, wherever possible, beings be safe. And of course, may beings who do harm to others, may they be saved from their own bad karma. So may beings live in love, may they have a mind of love and equanimity, may all the mental afflictions like anger, aggression, may they subside. And in that way, Vignantaka, he doesn't show up wrathful in order to be wrathful with negativities. He's just really tough so that he can grab the anger by its balls and say, that's not the way to do it. We'll have to be focusing on love. And therefore, he's showing up tough to do a good job with helping us to remember that whenever we'll get angry or aggressive, or other beings in the world get angry and aggressive, that, hey, that's not the way to do it. Bodhicitta is the way to do it. If we want lasting happiness, we need to get enlightened, because that's the only lasting happiness that exists. And in order to get enlightened, we'll need true bodhicitta. Without bodhicitta, no enlightenment, meaning no lasting happiness. So the main focus is not Rav, the main focus is bodhicitta, love and compassion. And with that in mind, we can recite the Vignantaka mantra. Om A Vignanta Krit Hung Hung. 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 Om A Vignanta Krit Hung. All right, now having done that, we can dive into the
continuation of the long sadhana.
Thank you. Shall we look at the questions here, or
I think we have 1 hour to go and we have a lot to cover, so maybe we can go for a question later on.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So also because we'll have only 1 hour to go, we'll now visualize that we've done also the blessing of Vashra and Bel and blessing of the inner offering. And then we come to the preliminary Torma offering. And we'll just try to keep it concise, but also meaningful. The preliminary Torma offering is something you will find in all highest yoga tantras. Not in the shorter sadhanas, but in all of the highest yoga tantras in the long sadhanas or the full sadhanas. And the preliminary Torma offering is always for the worldly beings. And we could also say in this case, they are called directional protectors. And what they are is worldly gods. Even though, for example, in Chakra Samvara, it'll be more focused or often called mundane dakas and dakinis, meaning more the non-human energies. Here in Fada Tantra, whether it's Guhyasamaja or Yamantaka, they are called often directional protectors, and the focus is on specific gods. Not just any gods, but so-called worldly gods. And then the question comes, what's the difference between a worldly god and maybe another god or a Buddha? And it's like that worldly gods are very powerful beings. They don't have physical bodies, but they have great capacity, some of which are very close to the capacities of a Buddha. But they still have an individual sense of self, or we maybe could say ego, which means they have very human character traits in a way that they could be happy and supportive if they are pleased, but they could also get upset and cause harm. So they are worldly gods because they are powerful, they have ability, but they also have, like humans, ups and down, emotional ups and downs. While a Buddha doesn't have that. A Buddha is always pure bodhicitta and love. Yeah, so that's in a nutshell regarding worldly gods, and in this case, then they are called directional protectors.
And also what is good to know, and that we call on their help and their power to consolidate with our power of that practice, because they can ally with the power of the yidam we are practicing, and this is what we turn towards them to ally with us. And because they also have that intention, that they have a good intentions, and they can be, as Yuna said, a little bit moody, a little bit flippant, but if convinced, they can also support our practice and contribute to the benefit of other beings. And in that way, we co-create good karma together and create alliance with heavens, so to speak. They just need to be convinced a little bit. That's why we are offering them something to ally with us.
Yes, and whether we believe in that or not, from the Buddha's point of view, or from the Buddhist point of view in general, we live in a universe of interdependence, as we all know. So we are completely interdependent with the universe around us. All our clothing, food went through many other hands. Our bodies come from others. All our knowledge comes from other people. And we are not only living in a physical universe, there's actually a much bigger universe behind the physical, and that's a universe of energy, and it's interdependent. And we could say in this energy universe and the different dimensions of energy are a lot of non-human beings. And whether we are aware of them or not, we are affected by them. And yeah, as Gosha said, we do want to we want to be on good terms with them. So we'll make them an offering so that our practice will be successful. And of course also that our good aspirations as practitioners will be supported. And maybe just to conclude that thought, because Buddhas, of course, are I mean, there's nothing higher than an enlightened state of mind, a Buddha. However, on the relative level, some of the worldly beings can be really, really helpful for us practitioners. And yeah, that's it, I think, for now. And yeah, so we make this offering, and first of all, it actually starts with blessing the outer offerings, or here called sense offerings, for them. Yeah, and then Om Avignanta Krit Hung, the same process as with the inner offering. The Vignantakas come out from our heart, remove interferences, they return into our heart. Om Shunyata Jnana Vashva Sobhava Amakoham. The place where we have the outer offerings become empty.
So again, we have two programs of cleaning, right? First from action deity, Vignantaka, and then through the emptiness.
Now also, you could set up outer offerings on the altar, but you don't have to. You could do the whole thing visualized. It's equally powerful. Whatever you put on the altar, it's only a symbolic representation of the actual offering. Because the actual outer offerings, they should be vast like an ocean. They shouldn't be just like this teeny little bit of chocolate that I have here on the altar, you know. So you can set them up, you don't need to. And maybe more details on how many rows of offerings and whatnot, it's too much maybe for now. There are different systems of doing it. You can have one row if you want to keep it simple. But maybe just that you know, usually in highest Deva Tantra, you have at least 3 rows, if not 4. And if it's 3, it's then
self-generation.
Then the enlightened front generation and the worldly front generation. And if you would have a 4th row, it'll be separately for Dharma, for enlightened protectors. But yeah, you can just go with the text and visualize it all in your mind. Perfectly fine. Now, and then we meditate from within emptiness. From us come vast and expansive skull cups, inside of which are Am, Pam, Pum, and so forth, the initial syllables of the individual names, each of the offerings, each adorned with a drop, meaning nada drop and crescent drop and nada. It only says drop, but it is all 3, yeah? The crescent moon, the sun, and the nada, like on all the syllables. These melt, meaning the syllables, and become drinking water, water for bathing the feet, water for the mouth, sprinkling water, flowers, incense, lamps, perfume, food, and music. By their nature, they are bliss and emptiness. In aspect, they are the offering substances. Their function is to generate special, uncontaminated bliss as objects to be enjoyed by the 6 senses. Then they come with mudras. So actually, the way these mantras are listed here is exactly the way they have been written out here. So Argam is drinking water. Then here Padyam is water for bathing the feet. Ansamanam is water for the mouth. Prokshanam, sprinkling water. Pushpe, flowers, etc. So that's the translation here in the text of the names in the mantras. Traditionally, what are they traditionally?
So traditionally, they would be the elements of hospitality that in Indian household would be offered to guests that are coming from afar. And it doesn't need to be afar. In India, it's very hot, so whatever distance you walk, you need some refreshment. So you come, you're being offered water to drink, water to clean your feet or other parts of body if needed, and then a little bit of the flowers as a gesture of welcoming, sometimes as a garland, sometimes in the form of a beautiful hand offering. Also, of course, some incense to fill the room with beautiful smell, beautiful ambient of the candlelight, some sprinkling of the oil or precious oils. There are many in India, really very natural organic oils that can be sprinkled on the body directly. So in here, the oil for the chest, some offering to eat, and beautiful music to enjoy. So these would be traditional ways to offer guests that are coming in the hospitality of the household. And that's what we are trying to offer to these guests, to show that they are welcome, that we really take care of all of their needs. And also, since that's the offering of the highest Yoga Tantra, we are focusing on that experience to be unified with ours. So their delight becomes ours too. That's so-called the unity of three circles, Mahamudra, meaning the object of offering, a person or a subject we are offering to, and the offering itself becomes one event. So even offering all of that delights of senses, we are trying to engage, imbued in ourselves in it too. Through that, it becomes an experience of unity, that bliss is being evoked through the gesture and received by these local energies in a form of delight too. And that becomes training, mind training in itself, and also enjoyment of senses and Mahamudra in one.
Important note here, at this stage we only consecrate the offerings, we're not making them yet. We will make them a few lines further down. So here we generate them. So from emptiness they appear and we generate them. We'll go through the mudras in a second. Just on an additional note, the way you meditate is that little goddesses come out of your heart and they hold up all the offerings you are presenting. And once you have consecrated them or presented them, they stay in the space in front of you or on your altar, and then the goddesses return into your heart. And that is actually a very, very powerful practice also that is preparing for the completion stage. And it's also preparing for benefiting others, because in this way we can learn to send out energy from our heart chakra and to call it back in again. So it's literally a specific energy comes out, the energy of the offerings and the goddesses that present those, and then you'd call those energies back into your heart. So if that's done well, it's not a visualization, you'll actually have energy emanating from your heart with beautiful feelings, beautiful gifts, and then the energies return into you. So it is very, very profound on many levels. It's not just like, I'm so devotional, I give you something. It's much, much, much more than that. And yeah, we'll just go a little bit paced, right? So that's why we could talk hours just on the altar offerings, because it is profound. But for now, let's move on. There are mudras, and how do we do it? I think
so. Just to concisely summarize what we are doing in here, we are manifesting that gifts for that for the local energies. So in order to manifest them, we purify them as well. So we are visualize them appearing, purifying through the action deity, Vignataka, then making them melt into the reality of space. So it's even deeper cleaning, and from them they're manifest, and then we tune into their essence of their delight, presenting it one by one. And through that we are not offering it, but we are already tuning into the quality of each of them, as we are also showing it through the mudras.
So later on we will snap fingers for goddesses to give the offerings. Now, even though goddesses come out of our heart presenting, we don't snap the fingers yet, because we don't actually offer, we just generate. So first there's a lotus, what is called a lotus roll. And yeah, we'll just keep it brief, and maybe in videos you can watch, it'll be more elaborate. But you turn your hands, Om Argam Ahum, Om Padyam Ahum, Om Ansamanam Ahum, Om Proganam Ahum, Om Pushpe Ahum, Om Dupe Ahum, Om Aloke Ahom, Om Gende Ahom, Om Nevinde Ahom, Om Shapta Ahom. You can, of course, use your Vajra and bell, so maybe we'll just do it once more. Actually, Vajra, bell, Damaru, if you have. And then instead of doing this drumming mudra for Shapta, you can actually play your bell and your Damaru at that point. Om, and you can also abbreviate actually the mantras of only saying Om at the beginning and Ahom at the end, and in between just say the names of the offerings, and maybe we'll do that.
Maybe we do that, yeah.
Om Argam Padyam Ansamanam Prokhanam O Pushpe Dupe Aloke Gende Nevinde Sham. Ahom. Okay, that's blessing the outer offerings. Now, we look a little bit further in the text. Now, blessing the preliminary torma. So for the torma, you can have a set of tormas, a fixed set of tormas on your altar, or you can simply put a bit of food for each torma that you're going to offer individually. Originally, tor just means to throw, and ma indicates it's a feminine activity. So you could say it's like you give something with motherly love or grandmotherly love, like a grandmother sharing cookies. Because torma really is a food offering.
Grandma is too smart to offer cookies. Grandma offers very nourishing meal.
So, and yeah, so the Tibetans have all those fancy styled tormas that I'm sure most of you will have seen. However, actually, Akashera Gyatso pointed out in his Guhyasamaja commentary that there is no, or there are many opinions that there is no scriptural source of the tormas being made in fancy shapes in India. So it is a Tibetan custom to make those elaborate things. And also, Ling Rinpoche, the Dalai Lama's senior tutor, he told Lama Jampa to just use cookies or food because a torma is a food offering. So you could use any form of food, a few nuts, a bit of cake, whatever you would cook for yourself, and use it as a torma. Just make sure it's clean. So it's not like I'm eating something and then, oh, there's something left. This I use as a torma. That's not so good because you want to have something that is precious, something fresh, something good. Doesn't have to be much because it's only a symbol for the vast oceanic offering of food that you're going to give. But if you want to have a little symbol, it's good. On the other hand, Akashera Gyatso in his Guhyasamaja commentary also says you can entirely visualize your food offering, your torma. So you don't need to have anything physical. No Tibetan fancy torma, no actual food, you can just visualize it.
So if you want to offer your food, if you're cooking for yourself, that's the first thing you're taking from the pot and you leave aside as an offering. And from the rest you can eat, but never should be touched by our mouth or like leftovers. Oh, I have still 2 cookies because I ate 8 and that's what I'm going to offer. No, it should be a fresh package just for that purpose.
Yeah, so if you're going to use actual food, it's actually best if you have food that is only used for tormas. So if you like to use cookies, buy cookies that are only being used for tormas. Not like, if I'm hungry, I'll eat them. If not, I give them as a torma. So have something dedicated, or you can, I mean, you can get those little fancy Tibetan style ones, which is actually clay, but it's a raffle clay torma here. Yeah, super nice. I mean, you set them up once and leave them forever, or you just visualize. So you really don't need to have if that's too much trouble. And that's really, Akushera Gyatso said it. So it's not like I'm trying to make things easy for you that you can visualize. Akushera Gyatso literally wrote it in his Guhyasamaja commentary.
And that's the main principle in Tantra. If you don't have something, you visualize you have it.
Yeah, ultimately it's about the energy you generate and what are the feelings in your mind rather than the outer things. And now for the consecration of the Torma, you use exactly the same meditation as for the inner offering. Exactly the same process. From beginning to end, the consecration process of the Torma is the same as for the inner offering. So I'm not going to read it now, because just for the sake of being able to finish this presentation. And then, of course, here at the end we have Om Ah Hung. Here it says 3 times. Of course, you can do, as Lama Glenn said, the 7 times. But that is basically the same as with the inner offering. And that's how you generate your food offering. And now we're going to read it from here, I would say. Yeah. Light rays in the aspect of hooks from the blue hung at my heart. Draw forth the 15 directional protectors and the retinues who settle in the cardinal and intermediate directions. And I'm just going to read it and then we discuss it for a moment, what they are and the meaning of it here. In the east is yellow Vajra weaponed with 1,000 eyes, riding a white earth protector and holding a Vajra. On his right is black Vajra illusion riding a Garuda, his 2 right hands holding a wheel and a staff, and his 2 left hands holding a conch and a Kaustuba jewel. In the fire direction is Vajra fire with blazing and turbulent eyebrows, bound matted hair and beard, very fat, and riding a goat. His 2 right hands are in the mudra of giving protection and hold a counting rosary. His 2 left hands hold a flask and a staff. In the south is black Vajra time on a buffalo cushion, standing with his right leg extended, his hair blazing and raging upward. His right hand holds a staff and his left hand makes the threatening mudra. In the southwest is black Vajra pestle on a corpse, naked, adorned with human bones, his fangs bared, his right hand holds a curved knife and his left a skull cup. In the west is white Vajra naga with 7 hoods holding a snake lasso. In the northwest is green Vajra wind on a yellow deer holding a wind fan. In the north is yellow Vajra terrify on a human stout, his right hand holding a mongoose and his left a pichabura. On his right is a white Vajra long trunk with the face of an elephant on a mouse. His 2 right hands hold a radish and a staff. His 2 left hands hold a ladu and a rosary. In the northeast is white Vajra Raf on a bull, adorned with a topknot and bone ornaments. His right hand holds a 3-pointed katvanga and his left a hand drum. In between the northeast and near Indra, a red Vajra swirl on a chariot with light rays that are hard to bear and holding a lotus, white Vajra light on a wheel, his right hand holding a kumuda and his left a counting rosary, and yellow Vajra silent on a swan, his 2 right hands holding a lotus, and in the mudra of giving protection, his 2 left hands holding a counting rosary and staff. In between the water deity and the southwest are black Vimachitra on a chariot and holding a sword, and yellow earth goddess on a lotus and holding a lotus. So these are the 15 directional protectors. Actually, there is a file for them, but the imagery is from Yamantaka. Here they look a little bit different for the most part, or for some part. Yeah, these are all the traditional Hindu gods, just because it might be a bit inconvenient to go through them in detail. Just to give you an idea. Sorry. Yeah, so basically these are various of the old Hindu gods, and when it says, for example, here, Vashra, wind, it's actually Vayu, the god of wind. Or it was, yeah, or just a few names. Vishnu is there, Yama, Raksha, which is a Shrimpo demon, Varuna, the water god, Vayu Deva, also Vayu, the wind god, Kubera, a wealth deity. Then the one with the I think Vashra, yeah, Vashra long trunk. It's a Ganesh. Yeah. Then the next one, they're here called white Vashra Rav. That's Maheshwara, so Shiva actually, and so forth. So these are, they are in Guhyasamaja, they are all called a little bit differently, but these are the standard Hindu, the main Hindu gods. And why? Because, yes, because we talked about these being worldly gods. And yes, from a Buddhist point of view, the Hindu gods, they're not enlightened. And we can actually clearly see that from all their stories. You know, there's various different things. The one Hindu god tries to impress the other, or they're fighting over a goddess. So they are very human-like in their character. And that's why, but they are powerful. And they're, from the Buddhist point of view, these are very real deities. They're just not fully enlightened, even though some of them are very close in terms of their mental capacity. But yes, we want to be on good terms with them. That's why we invoke them. Now, a very important caveat here. This is a practice taught by the Buddha, practiced in ancient India primarily. So the universe in ancient India was that these were the worldly gods. Now we live in the 21st century and we'll have culture of our own. And we have culture with gods equally old and equally real. And so in our culture we have, of course, the Christian god, we have Norse gods, we have the Native Americans as the white buffalo lady, or in Mexico, Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent. We have powerful deities of our own. And we did consult with both Lama Glenn and Lama Champa on their opinion of what about invoking those, because obviously this practice was given and written for people in India
at that time.
So what about us and our culture? And actually both said, yeah, of course, invoke the local gods. So that means wherever you are and whatever gods you are aware of, you think of them. I wouldn't rewrite the sadhana. You can still go through the sadhana with the Hindu gods. But then keep in mind that yes, you invoke the Hindu gods, but you also invoke the gods of your culture.
Yeah. So if you are from Scandinavia, of course, the Thor and the whole pantheon of the Norse gods would apply. Still, Greek gods are also very good for the Latin culture, Greek and Roman gods.
Weaker than the Norse gods, but okay.
They had their own time. And actually, I know one story of the Tsetcho Rinpoche that is being said. He died. I went into Paranirvana in 2003. He was considered to be another emanation of Padmasambhava. He said on one occasion of visiting Greece, and he talked to the local people, saying like, you have to do something with your gods. You know how poor they look right now. You don't care about them anymore. So yeah, it's all about also somehow being in that relationship with the local gods, so they can feel like they are useful, and especially giving them worthy cause to engage in their heavenly powers. So those also the Slavian gods, and as Jonas mentioned, the South Americans. We visited Mexico, and there are also very powerful energies there, and they are also waiting, and maybe they are ideal, ideal, I think. Anyway, they are not engaged in any worthy cause at that point.
Idle.
Idle, thank you. And we can also give them the purpose by invoking them together with this old ancient India gods. So, and if you feel connected to, Lama Jampa often mentions Guadalupe in Mexico as well. All of that female energies, Celtic gods, they are waiting to be engaged. So don't feel shy from doing that. It's not well, confusing different cultures. We know that all those energies are around us anyway. And if we were born into the certain location, we have a connection with these energies even more than some of the other on the other side of the world. So in that way, we can also build that interdependence and train and practice Dharma together, because they might not have connection to this tantric methods, but through the fact of being called to, they might become acquainted with it and also have the karmic imprint to attain enlightenment at some point. So yeah, it's a great idea how to incorporate the environment around us and build this connection with these other energies we live around anyway, and yeah, create something meaningful together.
On that note, of course, half of Europe in ancient times was Germanic. And so that means even for you guys in America, a lot of your ancestry, and you will surely have, everyone basically has some form of Germanic ancestry when you came from Europe. And so ancestry Germanic, and all the Viking gods that, I mean, a little of course also famous now with Marvel and whatnot. So Thor, Odin, and so forth, they came from the Germanic gods originally. And we still have their presence in the days of the week. So Wednesday comes from the German word Wotan. And Wotan is the original name for Odin. Wotan, Odin, became Odin with the Vikings. And Thursday is Thor's Day. It's the day of Thor, to worship Thor.
Thor.
Friday, Freya, one of the consorts of the gods, and so forth. So a lot of those, and Tuesday is Tyr, the god of war, for the Germanic people. So yeah, even in English language, the days of the week carry Germanic gods in their names, and we can utilize those energies, and they'll come and help us. But enough for now. So basically, you think of the worldly local gods, you'll invoke them, and they'll become part of your mandala. In fact, if you look at a lot of the bigger paintings and mandalas of deities, around the central enlightened deity, you find worldly gods. Like Medicine Buddha, for example, would be a good example. So anyway, now, and then you meditate that all the mundane protectors, such as Indra and so forth, instantaneously entered into clear light and arise in the form of the deities of the secret assembly together with the wisdom mothers. The homes on the tongues of these guests transform into red single-pronged vajras with tubes of light. So you invoke all the gods, and what you meditate then is that all the gods you'll have connection with, all around you, they go into clear light. And then they arise in the aspect of Guhyasamaja. So what you'll do is, when you hook those energies in, especially when you have a bit of mental capacity in your meditation, then you'll give them the blessing of the Buddhas, or you give them basically an invitation that they can be a fully enlightened being like Guhyasamaja, and you kind of project that enlightenment onto them as you visualize that they go into clear light and become Guhyasamaja themselves. So it's like you give them the enlightenment invitation or filter. And then all those worldly gods as Guhyasamajas, they have syllable hongs on their tongues, which become red single-pronged vajras, and they are like light rays coming from them, through which they will take on the offerings you are giving. And first, you give them the 4 waters. So water for mouth, water for cleaning, Ansamanam, water for cleaning mouth, Prokanam, water for sprinkling as a refresher. So we'll do that, and maybe for simplicity we again use the pattern of we recite the first part, then we recite the 4 offering names, and then Praticha Hung Soha. Praticha just means receive. So Om Ashri Pavara Satkaram Argam Padyam Ansamanam Prokhanam Pratitsa Hum Soha.
So when we are offering, we are sending goddesses with that snapping of our fingers around our heart, meaning we are sending from our heart the keys that are going distributing this offering to all the participants. And after offering, we are calling them back by snapping them back into our heart center. They are coming back.
Om Ah, mandalas generated in the extremely subtle atoms of the infinite arrangements of the universes, of the 10 directions and all the universes produced in the 3 times. Limitless as space, an ocean of clouds mutually penetrating one another, are perfectly encompassed in the sphere of phenomena that abides in all meditative absorptions. To all the worldly protectors, equaling infinite space, in the infinite universe of the 10 directions, and all the universes produced in the 3 times, arranged like clouds, which thoroughly extend to the limits of the realm of space, as well as to all sentient beings, such as Vajra weapon, Vajra illusion, Vajra fire, Vajra time, Vajra pestle, Vajra naga, Vajra wind, Vajra terrifier, Vajra long trunk, Vajra wrath, Vajra swirl, Vajra light, Vajra silent, Bhima Chitra, earth goddess, and their retinues. I offer flowers, incense, lamps, perfumes, divine food, and so forth. May you enjoy them all. Please accept this torma, each of you, and having enjoyed it, confuse humans and non-humans, the hateful and strongly hateful, and all interferers and misleading forces who deprive us of our vast jewels, gold, wealth, harvest, youth, health, and superior happiness. Okay, so getting a bit intense now.
The obstacles to all of those that sometimes through interdependence, either going into the disrespectful relationship with our energies around, sometimes we can afford for ourselves that interferences. So we are calling in here the help of all of that worthy energies to help us to align with the highest benefit to us so we can serve the most according to our strength and merit for the benefit of all.
And then, of course, in that same connection, the request continues, paralyze them, bind them, and destroy them. May you strongly increase our vast jewels, gold, wealth, harvest, youth, health, superior happiness, and great happiness. Until we reach the essence of enlightenment, may you approve of and constantly support us. May you bring us peace and protect us. Hum So Ha.
That's a powerful invocation. And that also shows that all these energies, although are not enlightened yet, but through carrying that superhuman and or supernatural powers of the God realm, they can really influence also course of our life and activity. And that's why, although they are not enlightened, they can be very useful and supportive of our activity. And through them impacting or allying with us, they also take the merit of our practice. And that's the most beautiful interdependence collaboration.
And then we have 2 of the waters again, and that's now these 2 because then is when we do the mudra for Torma, is Om Ahri Pravara Satkaram Ansamanam Argam Praticha Hum So Ha. So mouth cleaner, water for drinking, and then the Torma, Om Vajra Tambula Ye So Ha. It's like just presenting mudra, the food mudra.
So we are offering, we are visualizing or presenting beautiful torma for them.
And then the other outer offerings. Om Dasha Dik Loka Pala Saparivara Pushpe Dupe Aloke Gende Nevende Shabda Pratitra Soha. Then the next row is an inner offering. Om Dasha Dik Loka Pala Saparivara Om Ahum. On that note, of course, so actually when you do the outer offerings here, this is again when offering goddesses come out and really give the offerings.
Yeah, whenever we snap for the offering, we are sending goddesses, and when they come back, we are snapping them back into our heart.
And yeah, when you do the inner offering, you take your...
Actually, right hand, because it's a Father Tantra.
Yeah, so ring finger of the right hand, you dip it in, you make a little loop, and then you flick it. Or, I mean, if you're indoors and you don't want to sprinkle alcohol all over the place, you can just indicate.
Hoover on the top.
Yeah, just hoover over top and visualize that you're flicking it. Yeah. And that were the offerings, so outer offerings, torma, and inner offering. And then we just do one Vajrasattva, just in case we screwed something up. Yeah, so I don't know. We were thinking of invoking Thor, and we were offering him some Indian biscuit, and he was like, what the fudge is that? So just in case something like that happened, we
failed to visualize the wild boar.
Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manu Palaya Vajrasattva Tenopa Tishta Drido Me Bhava Sutokayo Me Bhava Supokayo Me Bhava Anorakto Me Bhava Sarva Siddhi Mantrayatsa Sarva Karma Sutsame Tsiram Shriya Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajra Mame Vajra Bhava Maha Samaya Sattva Ahum Pe. Whatever I have done here, due to not finding materials, like the proper meat for the Norse gods, or lacking understanding or ability, please be patient with all of this.
And we finish with sending them off by snapping two fingers, and calling them away. Om Vajra, Om Ahum Vajra Mu.
The directional protectors and the retinues return to their own abodes. So we gave them offerings, we made requests, and now they can go home basically until we invoke them again. And that's the section actually. Yeah, congratulations for bearing with us, because it's a lot of little details here. Yeah, so just in case if this is new to you, it takes some time. You probably just to memorize it all and getting the mudras down, it just will take a little bit of time. It's totally normal. The great thing though is, most of the things we've been doing so far in this Guhyasamaja series, if you understand and learn it all well, you have a very easy time to learn any of the other highest yoga tantras. Because as we said, like the inner offering, outer offerings, of torma for the directional protectors, that'll replicate in all the highest yoga tantras. Minor differences here and there, but the general idea and so forth literally is then the same. So it is worth learning one tantra really, really well, because then you can very easily understand the others. And now we can have a look at
dedicate, just in case some people go, and so we can all dedicate the merit from attending today's clarification practice session.
Great idea.
And the mantra phase we have done at the beginning.
Gyawadi yodudak sangva dupa drupkyane drowa chikyan malupa de isala guparasho changshub zemshok rimpoche makye pana kikyotri kye panam pame payang gongne gongdo pelvarasho. This virtue may quickly attain the enlightened state of the secret assembly, and then may we lead all sentient beings without exception to enlightenment's shores. May precious and supreme bodhicitta, if not yet aroused, be now aroused, and if we already have some of this peerless bodhicitta, may it grow from high to higher. In particular, we offer all our efforts in studying and practicing the Buddha Dharma to the enlightenment of all sentient beings. May we attain enlightenment as quickly as possible in order to help all others to attain that state as well. And also may we have very good relationships, of course with humans, but also with all the worldly gods and beings, all the non-human beings. May we have great relationships so that they too can learn the Dharma and help all sentient beings to more happiness and enlightenment. All right, now, questions. So first here, to clarify, do we appear as Guhyasamaja Akshobhya with consort shown on the screen currently, and inside our heart is Akshobhya solitary like in monk robes, and the mantra garland is rotating around the Akshobhya Buddha in our heart? No, the Akshobhya in our heart looks like Guhyasamaja actually. So a lot of the deities in Guhyasamaja are, actually they're all three-faced and six-armed, and they have a different appearance than in a lot of other tantras.
And they are mostly Yabhyum, even if they are not too male and female visible. They are in a form of appliance, like a Katvanga, identifying the partner, the consort. So that's how you will distinguish the deity in highest yoga tantra, because that form that you have presented in here is more Kriya yoga.
Kriya Tantra.
Kriya Tantra, Kriya Tantra. So it's more solitary and monk looking. So yeah.
Yeah, and also actually if you look at all the images of the mandala deities, in the mandala they sit solitary, but in your body mandala later, like the Akshobhya, they, even though on the image they are solitary, in your body they'll be all in union, except a few exceptions. But the main deities will be all in sexual union, actually. Yeah. The 10 wrathful ones, like Vignan Takrit, because I just see the image here, are not in sexual union. But let's, for example, Akshobhya in your heart is in union with Mamaki, Amitabha in your throat in union with Pandaravasini, etc. And Anthony put you the link to the Google Drive folder in the chat.
Nice.
For anyone listening to the recording right now, you have it on the platform, that link.
So there's 32 deity images in high resolution.
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, it's 31 images, because for Akshobhya in your heart and Guhyasamaja, it's the same. So that's why it's 31 images. Okay. Yulam, may I ask for all the Tibetan or Sanskrit letters, for example, like the Brum, Kam, Shrim, and and the Vignantaka mantra in Tibetan or Sanskrit? Also, I had a bit of question about visualization. Does the appearance of elephant's flesh in the east from Brum, etc., appears outside the skull cup in the east and flies into the skull cup, or does it appear inside the skull cup instead? All happening inside of the skull cup. The syllables, I'm not so sure. But it has been approved by both a lot of Western lamas and even Tibetan lamas, quite a few by now. You can just use our alphabet. You don't have to use Tibetan or Sanskrit syllables for the meditations.
Unless you know them, and unless it doesn't take too much mental strain to recall what's what and how it sounds like. Because it is not supposed to be too much of a intellectual workout. Just like we are seeing the Latin alphabet and we know what's A or what's B, that's the function of that particular piece in a sadhana, that we know from that sound, not how it looks like, but from that sound comes that substance. That's the merit of that part of the practice.
Sebastian, what is the blue bar from which deity appears? Is it nada? No, it's just like a blue stroke of light or
hue of light that is vertical, and it's not like cube or any type of geometric format. It's more like a stroke, so it's just like a patch of blue light that is more vertical than anything else. Just like if somebody would be waking up after like few days of, I don't know, coma, and then starts to see a person approaching, and it's going to be like a blurred vertical patch of some sort of color. This how we would like we would be seeing secret assembly Guhyasamaja if we would be for the first time seeing it in its own plane. So it's like a first visible sign. So Sambhogakaya of that particular deity.
Yeah, symbolic for the Sambhogakaya. Kumgang, what's the difference between Argam and Ansamanam? For me, they seem pretty much same. And Stoyan says, Ansamanam, sipping water from hands to bless and purify. Yeah, Argam is drinking water for your mouth. Ansamanam is cleaning water for your mouth. Teresa, which deities appear as the blue bar? Here it's only the self-generation. Yeah. 15 direction protectors Yamantaka. Actually, and Anthony put the image.
Yeah,
I think they are even accurate. Yeah, that's exactly the way they should also look. Yeah.
That's exactly from Yamantaka.
Yeah, but so I think it's actually then identical with Guhyasamaja. I thought there might be some difference, but it looks good. Yeah, looks good.
Lovely. Thank you, Anthony.
Teresa, we also have popular evil spirits like La Santa Muerte, Holy Death. Don't want to engage those ones. Well, you can offer them a deal with Mahakala or the more darker beings. They might be willing.
Well, there might be good to incorporate into the Chakra Samvara Tantra of Vajrayogini, where there are charnel grounds. They can be used. They can be invited into mandala because Guhyasamaja doesn't have any charnel grounds that was specifically requested when designing that tantra for King Indrabhuti.
Yeah, I would honestly stick with Mahakala, but it's personal preference. The thing is, if you ever have to deal with really evil spirits or demons, you can always tease them a little bit. Never run out of your wit. That's important, because the moment you get serious or you really get the feeling, oh, there's something bad, they hook into your fear. So never fall into fear in regards to evil beings, spirits, demons, and so forth. And you can always let them know, everyone can harm others. Only the weak people or weak beings harm others. Yeah. If you want to be really powerful, you have to help others. That's not so easy. Only the very strong ones can do it. And that they usually don't like so much. So anyway, there are methods to convert demons and evil beings. And yeah, you can offer them a deal with Mahakala. He has a vast entourage of oath-bound beings, oath-bound deities. So even though the main entourage of Mahakala is the 4 Yaksha cannibals and Palden Lamo, there are the planetary deities around and countless evil witches and cannibals and so forth. So you can try to move some beings in there. CK. This is what's discussed in Neil Gaiman's American Gods. CK, it's fiction, but quite real in many ways. Mark says, agreed. Mark, AI, new God. Yeah, a lot of things these days become gods, isn't it? Like our smartphones.
Some intuitives talk about AI being a god from the different universe, and that is very digitalized. It was actually introduced in here on this planet for a reason. But yeah, it's an interesting caveat.
Anthony, what are the following offerings? Ansamanam, Prokhanam. Yeah, Ansamanam, water for the mouth, and Prokhanam sprinkling, refreshing water. And yeah, Martin said water for rinsing mouth and splashing and refreshing.
Yeah, like a mist.
May I still ask the question? Well, we had those, yeah, that was about inside the skull cup and the Tibetan syllables. Yeah, I don't know where to find the Tibetans, to be honest. I mean, they are there, but if anyone knows, I'm sure there are a few of you who are very good with Tibetan. If you can maybe find those, that would be great, to be honest.
Yeah, because we personally don't have the version in Tibetan or Sanskrit of that long sadhana.
But it exists, undoubtedly, must be there. I'm sure maybe some of the Tibetan libraries, I'm sure you can find it. If you're lucky, because, for example, this sadhana we have here, it is from the Yangtze College of Ganden. I'm sure, though, you can also find Lama Tsongkhapa's sadhana in Tibetan online, 100%. Unfortunately, we'll only have it in German. I would love to share it with you, but I honestly lack the time at the moment to make a translation of it. But it will come for sure. I'm sure Tibet House Germany works on it, because they also work on the German translation of Aku Sherab Yatsu's Guhyasamaja completion stage commentary, which will be also ready in a year or two. Yeah. Anthony, any comments, experiences you could share on the local Irish goddesses, the Tuatha De Danann? I also find it curious that they arrived to Ireland and law suggests they might have arrived from other cultures originally. Yeah, oh, this is fun stuff. Well, we are actually on time. We could have some storytelling, no? Yeah, there are no more questions here either, or maybe one. Yeah, so I mean, honestly, I don't know too much. But the thing is, so the legend is that the Tuatha De Danann, it translates as the people of the goddess Danu. So they seem to be from a culture where they had a goddess called Danu, like a mother goddess. And I think they also had like a father god, like the Dagda, so something like an Odin-like figure. But so anyway, they arrived to Ireland in very, very ancient times. This is what is said. And when they arrived here, there were already humans living in Ireland. But the Tuatha De Danann, they had very powerful shamans and druids. So when they settled here and started to take over Ireland, they had, of course, war with the locals. And yeah, and so because though their shamans or their druids were superior in magic, they could influence the weather to their liking and so forth, and ultimately decide the win for them. They could win. They won basically and started taking over Ireland. Also, they had a blacksmith, Geipne. So they had a blacksmith who was forging magical weapons, and he was also brewing beer that could heal their warriors. So he's the Irish god of blacksmithing and beer, Geipne. So yeah, they had those beings. And then it said the Tuatha De Danann, they lived here for very, very long until they kind of descended into godlike status and went under the earth. So according to legend, they live in under-earth kingdoms, which from the Buddhist point of view is very common, that there are god kingdoms all over planet Earth, in the mountains, under lakes, and so forth.
Yeah, and because they found out that their activity is a little bit different from the activity of the humankind, that the age of whom came to like prosperity. It's a little bit like from the Lord of the Rings, when the elves are going back to the this far shores, because the age of human, it's coming to the main well, the first feudal type of age. And but there are legends and there are some accounts suggesting that those activities underground, or we can also say into the different realms, different frequency, different density of the space, it's still felt, and you can encounter, you can come into contact with these energies, almost like tuning into the god realms or the fairy realms. Sometimes the fairies in Ireland are being related to that she, to that Tuatha Danann, and sometimes they are being related to different realms of that existence, godlike, something between the human, animal, and the spirit realms, like elementals and so on. But there are quite a few accounts of people going into contact with those. And yeah, I dare you, Anthony, to come here and check for yourself.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stone circles here, and they're really interesting because archaeologically no one knows who built them. So even though they're often thought of to be made by Druids, actually they are much older than the Druid culture. So chances are they were from the Tuatha Dé Danann or other very ancient cultures. And even though it's physically only a few stones, they're real energy power fields. And just to give a taste of that, so you don't have to take my own word for it, but when we showed Lama Jampa the first stone circle, he was like, wow, this is amazing. You have mandalas here built for you, and you can draw on this energy. He was totally ecstatic seeing the stone circles because they are super, super powerful. Yeah, very nice. There's a lot of mystical energy in Ireland for sure. And it's interesting because, I mean, it's basically all over the world. It's just in a lot of parts in Europe, it was taken over by Christianity. And unfortunately, a lot of mainstream Christianity has lost a lot of its deeper wisdom to more flat-lined, more flat, controlling ideas like there's no afterlife except heaven and hell. But yeah, with those beliefs, you can control people much easier. But anyway.
But like with everything, also like with connecting with Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, we need to have a certain motivation and again, like turning our motive towards enlightenment and benefiting of beings, so we can connect and relate to these energies and being supported by enlightened energies. The same is with this sort of local protectors, because those local protectors, they have in mind also benefit of the land and also a harmony on that land that relates to different beings living on the surface and under it. So as long as you have that motivation, you can resonate with their frequency, so to speak, and then you can get some type of, let's say, connections.
And just because you also mentioned Lord of the Rings, I mean, Tolkien, literally a big part of the whole lore, it's straight out of Norse mythology. And Middle-earth, that is Midgard. In Norse mythology, Midgard is the land of the humans. It's above are the god realms, and underneath are is the hell, which is also the same actually as the Christian hell, just with one L. And it's all connected by a rainbow bridge where the gods travel. But yeah, Midgard is Middle-earth. So actually a lot of the ideas you find within the Lord of the Rings is based on real mythology. And the real mythology is not just made up because people in the past had too much time. It's because they were very intuitive and they could feel a lot of the non-human dimensions. So actually when we talk about mythology or the gods of the past, I think in mainstream culture it might be often a little bit belittled or not taken too serious, but it's actually it's very real and very powerful. Not necessarily in the direction of full enlightenment or so, often in a very worldly context, but there is no limits to the energy dimensions of space, so we can explore those.
Yeah, and also even the place, like in probably like 2 weeks time, we'll be moving into a different place. We found it very close to one energy hotspot exactly of the local local energy hotspot of Mother Goddess Anu, which we relate to the great Mother Tara, that was worshipped in here also by the Celtic culture before, because the place we're going to move in is next to the Paps of Anu, meaning the two mountains symbolizing the breast of Goddess Anu. And that's also traditionally, this spot used to be very much related to Adedanan, or exactly that energy of Goddess Anu, the great Tara. And yeah, energy is magnificent there.
And yeah, I think we said it before. So in Ireland, also the name Tara is very, very common. So no one really knows where it comes from in general culture, but just a lot of women are called Tara. And there are people who say that, yes, in the past, people have been worshipping a goddess called Tara in Ireland. And of course, there's the Hill of Tara on the east coast, where all the Irish high kings have been crowned in the past. And it has the Stone of Destiny. That's actually very interesting. The Stone of Destiny bestows, sure enough, visions.
Yeah, that's the first thing that I brought Jonas to when we met before he moved to Ireland.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And we've also showed it to Lama Jumper. He loved it as well. And he too got a vision there. It was quite interesting. So yeah, Tara, very common. And it's quite intriguing. There is, of course, in the dream yoga practice of the 6 yogas of Naropa, there is the method of reciting the mantra Om Anu Tara. And actually, there is nowhere in the commentaries the explanation of why those syllables have been chosen. But it's Anu and Tara in the mantra for dream yoga.
Goddess Anu, Goddess Tara.
I mean, we don't know really, but it's intriguing. It's certainly intriguing.
Interesting coincidence.
Yeah. Cliff, thank you, Gosha and Jonathan, all the kind support go. Thank you so much, dear Cliff. Nino, the syllables in the Sadhana are in phonetic. I could give the Tibetan if I know the
Wiley, it's the transliteration.
Perfect. Cliff, weapons and nectars. Oh, what was that about? It was 9 minutes ago. Anyway.
Maybe, yeah, the Gaibne.
Oh, yeah. Oh, perfect.
The nectar, the beer, weapons forged in sacred fire.
Yeah, Alberta, thank you once again, Jonathan, Gosha, and to everyone else helping. I saw many fairy totems and shrines on Skye. Skye is?
Is it the island?
In Wales. Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, the culture is very similar. Also, Stonehenge is quite impressive.
Isle of Skye.
Isle of Skye. Okay, perfect. Yeah. Nice. Oh, Teresa, wow. Anthony, Peps of Anu. Yes, perfect.
So that's nearby. We're going to be.
Yeah.
From now on.
Yeah, I'm renovating the house at the moment. Almost done, but every day I drive, if the weather is good, I see the 2 breasts.
Every day Jonas takes few of the statues to move there. So
that's why the altar shrinks. It grows in the other place. Teresa, in Mexico, we have Foco tunnel energy tunnels. You can hear the echo of your own voice in the middle of nowhere, and there are many elves and alien sightings there. Yeah, intriguing, absolutely intriguing. And you know, there are a lot of stories from everywhere in the world of kingdoms under the ground, and a lot of legends regarding that. And so, for example, on the border between Germany and Austria is the Untersberg. And when the Dalai Lama went through there, he said this is the heart chakra of Europe. And he didn't say more than that, but the Dalai Lama said Untersberg is the heart chakra of Europe. And it is a place that has tunnel systems that were never, the bottom was never reached so far. I think the deepest the cave explorers went was like 800 meters deep, and they never found the bottom of it. So it's quite fascinating. And of course, there is a local legend that, I don't know the name of the king, but there is the legend is that there's a king sleeping inside the mountain. And then the legend goes that at the time when good and evil, in the final time of where good and evil will have a battle, the king will wake up with his knights, and then they will ride out
and support the right cause.
the good forces, and thus then the war between good and evil will be decided, and of course the good forces will win, and that's supposed to happen in the future. So right now the king is sleeping.
Not the final time of final battle yet.
And actually, there is another story with Santiago de Compostela in Spain. So Santiago de Compostela protected Spain when the Muslims invaded, like they did in so many other places, like India, and of course Nalanda was destroyed by the Muslim forces. But so in Spain, the Muslims invaded as well, and Santiago de Compostela fought them off and secured the freedom of Spain from their invasion. And then the legend goes that he went in, when he died, he moved inside the mountain and lives there in an underground kingdom. So from the Buddhist perspective, he basically took a godly rebirth in a kingdom underground. And Lopen Chechu Rinpoche, that Gosho also mentioned today, so he visited Spain many times, and in the area where there's a Dharma center, a lot of people used to report that they've seen a black rider, a mysterious black rider on a black horse, and no one of the locals could really identify who that black rider is. And one day, Lopen Chechu was asked about the black rider on the black horse, and he said, "I've seen him. He took refuge with me. He visited me, and he took Buddhist refuge with me." That's Santiago de Compostela, and he lives in the kingdom on the mountain there.
I was living in that retreat center for 2 years, and it is really magnificent energy. And it's being said that this king that overwhelmed the armies of Muslim invaders is sleeping with all of his army under that mountain. So when he took refuge with Lopen Tsechu, he also again contributed to that forces of not yet enlightened energies, but he's like entering to the entourage of the protectors of the Dharma now around also this Buddhist center. So there are many and many energies like that that we know of, that we don't know of, but the moment we are calling to their help, they, as I say, they are feeling engaged in the right cause, and they have also connection to Dharma, and they might already have refuge or waiting to take a refuge. So by inviting them into our practice, we're doing us favor, we're doing them favor. We are also multiplying the power and impact of the practice. So everyone wins.
And with Lopen Chechu Rinpoche, also that story, Lopen Chechu, he was the head Lama in Bhutan when he was still alive. So he wasn't like some crazy Lama that made stuff up. He was the head Lama of Bhutan. He was also known to have the fast walking city that Marpa also had. So when he used to tour through the mountains to visit the monasteries that were under his supervision, normal people would need 2 months to make the whole tour through all the mountains. He did the same tour in 2 weeks because of his fast walking ability. So he was really, really quite incredible. And actually the 16th Karmapa said about him that if I'm the Buddha, then he is Ananda. So my favorite, the Buddha's favorite student.
And he actually set up many stupas across the world during his lifetime. And one, the Kala Chakra stupa in that center that we talked about, that I was living in for 2 years.
Yeah, it's interesting. So Santiago de Compostela, or the Black Rider, felt attracted by this Kala Chakra stupa, and of course Kala Chakra Tantra is very much associated with the whole Shambhala mythology of the forces of good versus evil. And maybe on that note, because it's actually still on topic in regards to worldly gods, worldly protectors, just to add up to the king in Untersberg and Santiago de Compostela in his mountain kingdom in Spain. In Denmark, for example, is Holger Danske. He was a Viking chief. And the legend is the same, that in one of the castles, it's somewhere close to, what is the capital in Denmark? Anyway,
Copenhagen.
Copenhagen, yeah, that's it. So close to Copenhagen, somewhere in a castle, he is sleeping underground, and there's a statue of him that he's basically sitting and sleeping with his helmet and his sword.
Also waiting to be woken up.
That's the story. So again, when there's a time between the forces of good versus evil, he'll wake up and help. And
so we're not alone, guys.
And I mean, whether that's really meant physically or not, I think doesn't really matter. I mean, it could manifest in many ways. Maybe, yes, the physical statues or stuff will stand up, but more likely, I think it is those beings will take either a human rebirth or they will emanate out in many human forms to change the world. Some of you guys may be a part of some of the kings that we've been talking about. Yeah, I mean, you'll never know. I mean, the mystical part of this universe is unfathomable for us practitioners, for most of us practitioners. So things can happen. So yeah. Thank you so much for bearing with us, especially the last 20 minutes of chit-chatting about different things. But it is on point because it is interesting in regards to invoking directional protectors, because yes, it's the traditional Hindu gods, but we should also think of our local gods and beings. Yeah, very important.
Cliff is waiting for an invitation for a housewarming party. Cliff, consider yourself invited.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you, Anthony and Philip, Andre. Chat was great, thank you. Okay, so we haven't wasted your time fully. So thank you. And looking forward to see you very, very soon. Enjoy your practice of invoking the local gods and making offerings to them.